viewers, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victoria Okun, and on this YouTube channel I'll be teaching us on how to pattern basic bodies. So today we are going to focus on basic bodies for learners. That's if you are new into fashion and you want to learn how to draft a normal half-cut basic bodies, then this video is for you. So for this video, we'll be needing our pencil, our tape rule, our scissors, our pattern paper, and our ruler. But my ruler got broken, so I'll be improvising with my tape rule. So now we want to cut the basic bodies. Now the basic bodies, that's just a half length. We're going to be measuring from just the shoulder to half length. Normally basic bodies that cups like the half length, you can actually add, let's say, a peplum to it, or just a straight fabric. You use it to pleat to make a gown or a blouse, depending on your choice, and it can also come down straight. But for this one, let's just go into the basic body. So I'll be sharing this paper into two. Not to forget that we have people with different body size. So the measurements that you're going to cut for your bodies depends on your customer's body size. But I'm just going to be using a random body measurement. So now that I've cut it into two, I'm folding this into two. And the second part too into two. Now that I've folded this paper into two, if you look at this edge, there is no opening here, but on the side there is opening. Same thing with the second paper. But I'll be positioning this part that has opening right in front of me. Then this other part that has no opening, I'll be placing it on the first pattern right in front of me, leaving allowance of 1 or 1.5 inches at the back. That's for the zipper allowance, depending on how much you want it to be. So here I have 1 inch here, so I'll be marking 1 inch down, just like this. And I'll be connecting the 1 inch on a straight line. That is why you need your ruler. Your ruler is going to give you a perfect line. Don't forget that in fashion we have different types of ruler with different shapes for different purposes. Yes. So I'm connecting it like so. So now I'm going to place this part that has no opening right on this line that I have drawn. So now this is the zip allowance. You can label it zip, the zip allowance, however you want it. So now the body, we have the shoulder. So the shoulder measurement, we will be needing the shoulder measurement, the half length measurement, the bust measurement, and the waist measurement. So now the shoulder, as you can see, the shoulder is just straight here, and we are folding this into two pieces. Like this part is going to be this part is representing the front, and this other part is representing the back. So that means we are going to divide the shoulder measurement into 2. So I'll be using 14 for the shoulder measurement into 2, that's 7 inches. So I'll come here and mark 7 inches, and I'll add half inches for sewing allowance. Now we want to measure the armhole. Measuring the armhole depends on the body size of your client. If it is for someone like me, I use 7, 7.5, 8, depending on what I'm making. But for this, I'll be using 8 inches. This is 8 inches, but by the time I'll have to slant the shoulder. It's going to reduce, so I'm going to add half inch to it to make it 8.5. Now for the half length, I'm making it 16 inches. So I'll transfer the 16 inches around on a straight line. All this, as I'm supposed to be using my ruler for this. So sorry that this thing's shaking. Okay, for this part, 8.5, I have to transfer it like this on a straight line. So to avoid your pattern paper shifting, you can actually use pin to pin it down, so it won't be moving up and down. So this is the bust line, this is the bust line, and this is the half length. Remember I said we are making half bodies. Now the half length, initially the measurement for the half length is supposed to be 15, but I'm adding 1 inch extra to it. That's allowance for sewing it in, that's attaching it to the back, the down bodies, and allowance for up. So now after we've measured our shoulder, the bust we'll be using 34 for our bust. That's into 2 is 17 inches, into 4 is 8.5. Now the body measurement, apart from your shoulder, every other measurement you divide it into 4. So on this bust point, I'll be measuring 8.5 and allowance of 1.5 inch. So now from this bust point, I'll be connecting it to my armhole. But before I get the perfect shape for the armhole, I'm going to divide my armhole into 2. So that's 4 1/4. So my curve is going to come from here like this. If you have the armhole, there's a particular ruler for curving of all these body parts, but I don't have one, so I improvise like this. You connect it right to the shoulder. Ensure you achieve a very good curve line at this point. So now at this point of the half length, because you'll be adding your dart to your half cut, and for you to determine the measurement for your dart, you have to measure the person's nipple to nipple. So for someone like me now, my nipple to nipple, I use 7 at times. That's dividing it into 2 is 3.5. So I come here to measure 3.5. Then I add in 3/4 here, 3/4 in. Then to determine the point at which your dart is going to stop, you measure from your shoulder down to your nipple point. For someone like me now, I have 9.5 inches, but with sewing allowance I'm going to be using 10. We are still coming back to the shoulder to slant the shoulder. So this is 10 inches. So for us to get this very easily, this 3.5 that I marked here, I'm going to mark it all through to the top on a straight line, and I'll connect it. Like this. So now this point here, you know that I said I'll be using 10 inch from the top here. So this is the point of the 10 inch. So now from this part that I measure 3/4 inches in, 3/4 inches out, I'm going to be connecting it right to this top slant like this. Now this point where it's going to meet here has to be very faint. Okay, the fact that we imputed this doesn't mean we are cutting it out. We are just going to sew it in. But then before we can get the measurement for our waist, we have, you know that this now is going in, we have to include it in our allowance at this end. So for my waist, I'll be using 24. That is, into 2 is 12 inch and into 4 is 6. So this is 6 inches. Remember this 3/4 that we used, that's 1.5 inch. I'll be including it here before adding another 1.5 for sewing allowance. That's it, and I'm going to connect it like so. For the neck, it depends on how you want your neck to be. Like, it depends on the shape, be it round neck, v neck, any neck like that. But I'm going to be using a normal round neck for this pattern. Before then, we have to get the neck of the back different from that of the front. So we are going for the back first. So for the neck, from this center we'll be measuring 2.5 in like this, and 1 inch downward. So this 1 inch, we are connecting it to the zip allowance like this, and it's going to curve in like this. That's for the back neck. And for the front neck, we don't want it to be too low or too high. It's just a normal neck. I'll be using 4.5 inch for the depth of the neck, and this same 2.5 inch for the wideness of the neck. So this is it for the front, and we connect it like so. To the shoulder. After that, we can come in here by 1/2 inch and slant it in from the shoulder like so. So for this down, I like to curve in this part of my bodice, because on while making it on my fabric, I like it to come curve like this, especially if you are attaching it to a peplon down. You curve it like this. So to achieve that, I'll reduce this place by 1 inch. So I'll be connecting it from here like this. So we'll be cutting this pattern out so you understand all what we've been saying. So I'll be cutting the front and the back neck together. That's this back. Oh, you have to be very careful so you won't cut this part together with the back. Slant the shoulder down to the armhole. You have to be very careful so this part won't move. I'm supposed to use a masking tape to hold it down or a pin down to the side of the body. Then you cut this line out, and this part you extend it to the zip allowance. So this is our basic bodies. You can notch this part of your zip allowance for you to get your center front and center back. You do the same beneath. Then this place is giving me a funny shape and I have to do something about it. It looks awkward. Just try to blend it in. That's the more reason why you need to add more than enough allowance. So should in case you want to make corrections like this, it will be easy for you to reflect those corrections on your pattern. Yeah, that's better now. So now that we are done with the front and the back basic bodies, this is the back. You can see it's separated, but the front is not separated. Don't forget that we marked our front neck here, so we'll now be shaping it out like this. Don't forget that your neck, it depends on what you want. It can be V, it can be whatever shape you want, like that. That is that on this basic body. So now our basic body is ready to be transferred into a fabric. As you can see, this is our basic body. This is the back. It's going to lay on each other like this. That's for the zip allowance, and the front on it. As you can see, it's perfect on each other. So we'll be stopping here, and on our next video we are going to be transferring those basic bodies to a fabric. Please don't forget to like and comment on my YouTube channel. If you are just joining, please do me a favor, just like, comment and share. See you some other time, and thanks for staying with us.